Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This week enjoying with Keith again, and we're here to review the last weekend's fixtures. There was a lot of good games this week, a lot of disappointments, and a lot of talking points to go through, Keith. I suppose one place we'll start with will be St. Patrick's 7-0 demolishing of UCD, and the youngest League of Ireland's youngest ever scorer, Mila, got himself a goal, 15-year-old off St. Pat's. Hopefully could be one of the next big Irish stars. Be a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Suppose Keith 7-0 against UCD and a clean sheet. What a game for St. Pat's.
Yeah, I'm going to hang you here a little bit because you predicted a draw. But moving on, yeah, 7-0.
I predicted the
I
draw.
did.
I predicted the draw. Hold my head in shame. I was looking at it going, oh, for the love of God.
I didn't predict 7-0 though, but it's a tale of two things really. In the game from UCD's point of view, the basic defending was atrocious from them. Again, set pieces. I think they've conceded 4 goals against St. Pat's from corners, let alone set pieces all season. Pats could have scored another one from a corner, actually. Jay McGrath hits the post. And just the basic defending was gone out the window completely for UCD in this game, which is disappointing from them. But from Pats, they played very fluidly. They played really good attacking football. They really took advantage of it and scored 7 goals. And to be honest, they could have got more, Daz. It was 2-0 at half time. It could have been more in the first half. A few shots were just kind of weak attempts, but they created a lot of chances. And, the first goal from Forrester's penalty, which is his 11th of the season now, was lovely slick football from Pats. Mark Doyle heavily involved. Mulroney gets pulled down and Forrester scores right in half time. Mulroney does well, 1-1. Lovely ball into the box, which was put into his own net by Keeney to make it 2-0. It was a great cross. And then the second half, Sam Curtis helped himself to a goal. Tommy Lonergan helped himself to 2 goals, his first goals for the club as well. Great to see because, to be honest with you, I like Lonergan. I think he's a very good player. He just hasn't got really a run of games and lost a bit of confidence in that. So the goal scored in this match might help his confidence. His first goal was excellent as well. It's a beautiful ball played through by I think it's Forrester played him actually in a lovely turn onto his left boot. And, later on he scores a header from a Ben McCormick free kick, which was a good header. But he sets up also McClellan to score as well. And that was a lovely play. Again, a beautiful pass by Forrester down the line. And Lonergan gets a lovely ball into the box. McClellan finishes. And then Melia, young Mason Melia, only 15, as you mentioned there, scores his first goal for the club. He could have got a second as well, believe it or not, as well.
Yeah.
Scruffy goal, but the youngest player ever to score in the League of Ireland. And, he's been doing the rounds in terms of if people might have heard his name and that. They know him well at Pats, but, doing well in the under-17 championships there for Ireland and that as well. And, you do have to protect these lads when they're only 15, to be honest. But he's a player that I think could get a couple of games for Pat, certainly here and there. Certainly come on as a sub and trying to make an impact because he's made impacts in one or two of the other games he's come on as well. Kyle Bartley, only 17, came on this match in midfield as well, and he's the only Pats player that's played all underage for Pats who's actually played for the first team as well. So an awful lot there. I mean, you could talk about it all day when it's 7-0 and all these little landmarks, you know what I mean, with Amelia, Lonergan's first goal. Sam Curtis was brilliant, Amelia's goal as well. The way, the determination to go and win that ball back and eventually cross it into the box. So, look, Pats are going very well, Daz. Second of the league, 4 points behind Shamrock Rovers. There'll be a lot of people looking at this, wondering if I think they can challenge for the title, but I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think Shamrock Rovers, I don't want to talk about them too much in this segment. We'll get on to them later, but they have the experience in that as well. Pats are on a good run. If they can finish in the top three, it'd be fantastic, but you never know. I'm just saying you never know.
But you're 4 points behind, and Shamrock Rovers have been losing points the last few weeks.
Yeah.
It's only four. It's 4 points. I know it's a lot in football, but two wins, and they have gone another bad run of results, and you're right up there. Like that goal difference too, I think is vital. Like that's 7 goals against UCD. Brilliant. I can never understand why some people say it was disrespectful from the manager to keep attacking. They should have passed it around more. Like not that anyone said about this game, but in general, like continuing
Could
football,
have been more goals, Daz, to be honest with you
you
as
think I
well. In
would see
fairness,
that,
Pats did rest players like Chris Forrester came off and
I suppose keep this to talk with UCD for a small bit. Like that's a terrible show from them. Like it's terrible defending it. The basics just weren't done right. The
no.
goalkeeper was just he's having a nightmare of a game. There's a few shots there's nothing really you could do about. You'd have to blame the defense ahead of him. Evan Austin obviously was playing centre back as well. A bit our position for him. they had one shot in the whole game and not one shot on target.
The biggest thing for them was they didn't defend well, but in general, their set pieces, defending very poor for set pieces, and you
Very
need to get
poor.
those basics right first before you get anything else right. Even for the Mulroney cross for the OG, he was left 1-on-1 in an area where he wasn't at the byline, if you know what I mean. Like he was kind of at the edge of the area. How he's left 1-on-1 there, I'm not really sure, but that's just basic stuff from UCD, and it's disappointing. From Pat's point of view, you wouldn't really care, like, because you just go out and win the game and you try and perform the best you can. And in fairness, Pat's played some excellent football combined with that and really punished UCD for that.
They did. A terrible showing from UCD, and they really need to go back to basics here and try and get a draw or something out of the next game. Losing 7-0 is never okay, but that's shocking. But look, a very, very good result for Pats, and I'm sure it's going to propel you on for the season. I suppose the next game we're going to look at then, which is another big talk point in the league. Dundalk 2, Shamrock Rovers 0. Louis Ainsley got very, very good goal, broke through the defence and got a really blasted top corner of a goal. It was just brilliant. And Patrick Copeland knows what Patrick Copeland does best and just found the net again. What a player he is. Yeah, look, a very good result, I think, keep for Dundalk. 2-0 win, clean sheet, 2 goals, 2 different goal scorers. They're starting to find a good bit of form now at Dundalk are.
Yeah, they've been delighted with that. We'll talk about them first. Fantastic performance and result from Dundalk because it was 0-0 as well with 15 minutes to go or 16 minutes to go. And they're only 3 points behind Pats now as well. So they're really putting themselves in the race. They might have been worried going into this game thinking Pats will probably beat UCD and we may not beat Rovers. So it's a massive 3 points for them. Ainsley's goal is brilliant, as you say. And it's one of those where the defender gambles. He wins the ball and lays it off. And instead of jogging back into his position, which he should do, he just keeps, which he should do. He keeps moving forward, and because of that, he's unmarked, and it causes confusion, and he's not tracked, and he eventually gets through past the Rovers defence, but he shows coolness and calmness of a attacking player, and uses Daniel Kelly. I think he makes a great run. Instead of laying it off, Kelly opens up the space for Ainsley, and it's a fantastic finish. Really good goal, and I'm sure Stephen O'Donnell will be delighted, but he'll be telling them you can't do that every week, I'm sure. No, you have to give him serious credit for taking that gamble.
He's done it against Shamrock Rovers as well. Of all doing that again. UCD,
but that causes confusion if a centre back just starts striding forward like that, and suddenly, like, who's marking him? You know what I mean? What do we do here? Suddenly there's an overload and they get in. I think Ford flicks it on. It's a brilliant finish by Ainsley. You have to give him credit. And then Houben makes it 2 a couple of minutes later with his 10th of the season. And, he gets in between Lopez and Cleary. And I'm sure Lopez and Cleary would have talked about this and said, whatever you do, we can't let Houben score a header from a set piece, for example. What does he do? Good cross with Keith Ward. But somehow Houben gets in between Cleary and Lopez, who seem to be in decent positions, by the way. It's not like they're miles away from each other or anything like that, but he's just so good at smelling opportunities, and it's a brilliant header. He's not the tallest in the world. I've said it before with Houben. And, I can imagine Lopez and Cleary at the end of the match going, how did that happen?
Yeah, exactly. And I thought the ball of Keith Ward was just brilliant. Like that was a typical Keith Ward ball. Like he found Houben. He knew where he was going to be. He got right to his head, and Houben had brilliant contact on the ball. Really got up and hit it across. And like you said, there's 2 of the best defenders in the league on him, and he still managed to get over them, get his head to the ball, found the back of the net, and that's what Houben can do. And
I think from Shamrock Rovers' point of view, they'll be very disappointed. But the injuries, I know they have a good squad, but Neil Farrugia and Jack Byrne went off injured. I mentioned the other day against Derry City, and I wasn't sure to be available for this. They've been their 2 best players arguably this season, and we know how good Jack Byrne is. But what Jack Byrne missing is a big loss. They're also missing Gary O'Neill. Trevor Clark was missing as well. Finn was missing. And they struggled. They struggled in this game and to get a foothold. And it's not just the Farrugia and Byrne were missing. They've been on top form. And you take the likes of Byrne out of any team, and you're going to see the difference. If you take Forrester out of the Pats team, luckily now he doesn't get injured half as much as Jack Byrne, but it does leave a massive difference. It really does. And they couldn't get a foothold in the game. And even early on, a mix-up between Hoare and Pauls nearly led to a goal, which Hoare clears off the line. And Rovers, Sharper made some saves, but they really find it hard to get going when those players are missing. And depending on how long those players are out for, it could be huge. It could be huge. I mean, you're talking about the title race here, and we were talking about Pats earlier on. But say if Jack Byrne was missing till the end of the season, which he won't be, but just say he was, like, it's a massive. It could make massive difference. There's European games coming up, and there's cup games coming up as well.
Nothing.
And
But
Rovers are
I,
missing players, and you know what I mean. They're top
I'm
of the
gonna
league.
be
They're 4 points clear, but they're not. It's not convincing. Let's say at the
yeah,
moment.
yeah. I'm gonna be a bit tough to Shamrock Rovers here. I, I know they're missing two of the best players in the league.
Yeah.
Not disputing that whatsoever. Going into Europe, that's obviously
Mm-hmm.
going to be a serious
Mm-hmm.
issue for them.
I
But if
wonder
you
if they
just
are being wrapped in cotton wool for that in a way as
yeah,
well. Anyway,
there's that thing too, and really
yeah.
could be. And I don't blame Stephen Bradley for doing that. I absolutely don't. Like he needs to make sure he qualifies. I get that, completely get that. But if you're
Mm.
looking at the players that came off the bench, Lee Burt, Rory Gaffney, Graham Burke, walk into any other team in the league. They walk
Oh, I
in.
agree with that. I
And
agree with that.
I think Shamrock Rovers should be okay to go out and beat teams
Mm.
missing Jack Byrne, missing a Ferrugia. I
Mm.
think they've got relevant, really good players to step in. So
Yeah.
I just don't buy the results or the talk for Shamrock Rovers fans that we were missing these
Mm.
players, so we're weaker. Yes, you're
I think the
weaker, but
midfield balance though with O'Neill and Byrne out isn't the same. I know you've got good players like Watts and Towell and players like that, but it's just the balance in the midfield at the moment isn't quite right in that sense, if that
yeah,
makes sense. And Poom as well as there. So they're good players. But if I was picking my Shamrock Rovers best midfield, O'Neill and Byrne are in it, and everything else works around that.
and
In my
Ferrugia's
opinion.
in
So
it
they
as
lack
well.
that little balance, I think, in there. That and Dundalk have a strong competitive midfield. They like to slog it and players like that. They really get their foot in and strong midfield in that sense. So they'd be disappointed with the defeat. Rovers was a brilliant win for Dundalk. Fairness.
Yeah, look, it was a very good win for Dundalk, and I'm sure they'll be absolutely delighted with that. And like you said, you probably wouldn't have been thinking they were going to get a win. They probably would have been hoping for a draw, which
Mm.
still would have been a very good result. But it's certainly showing that the league is still wide open and that teams can come and beat the top teams that are in the league on paper. So I suppose it's good from, if you're outsider in the league to look at that and look at the likes of Rovers and go, well, they're not unbeatable, But
Absolutely.
look, great results for Dundalk. Next game, then we're going to move on to heading down south to the Rebel County, County Cork, where they got a 1-1 draw against Drogheda United. O'Brien Whitmarsh got the goal for Cork in the 81st minute, and Adam Foley opened the goal scorer in the 67th minute for Drogheda. I suppose I think I predicted a draw for this. I can't remember. I think I did, but
She
I
went
think
for Cork 1-0 and I went for Drogheda 1-0.
oh
So
right, well there you go.
combined we
But
were right.
yeah, yeah, there you go. But I suppose in fairness, it did kind of have a draw written all over it. But Drogheda were the better team. They had 14
Mm.
shots, whereas Cork didn't have anywhere near as much. And obviously Drogheda were missing, the players that they've had on loan as well. So it was
Mm.
going to be a test for them going away to Cork here anyway, Keith.
Yeah, obviously Draper was out. It was IE's last match, actually. He did play in this game, but
Suspended.
they played with Foley up front in this one. He scored his fourth goal of the season. He's been goal scoring for him lately, so that's a plus for them. But who would be the happier with the draw after the 90 minutes? Definitely Cork City, even though they're 2 points behind Drogheda, because Drogheda were the better side in the game. Cork tried to play from the back an awful lot in this match, actually, Daz. And I don't think that the players to do that. And Drogheda really recognised that and were quick on the press. The likes of Rooney, Markey, and particularly were nicking a lot of ball and causing a lot of problems. And they created opportunities from that Drogheda mainly as well. And Markey was very good, actually, between the lines in this game. He was really good and played a lovely ball to Foley in the second half, in which Foley didn't react quite quick enough and didn't get there. But I thought the ball was good enough, to be honest. Drogheda did take the lead, as you mentioned, through Adam Foley. Brilliant play by Drogheda. Again, this was one with a high press, I think, as far as I remember. And Ryan Brennan plays a lovely side rule ball. Foley, all he has to do is focus on finishing, and he does finish it. He doesn't need to take a touch or anything. So it's a lovely pass from Ryan Brennan. The equaliser came from Joe O'Brien with Marsh cross into the box. I think it might be O'Donovan that got the cross into the box for this one. A bit of a scramble on O'Brien with Marsh finish as well. Drogheda had a number of chances in the last moments of the game as well. They had Ryan Brennan missing off absolute great chance. So he did. It was brilliant play by Rooney in the left, gets it into the
Yeah.
right area, 7 yards out. Brennan kind of tries the side foot, it was left foot, but doesn't get full purchase on it, and it kind of fizzles wide. It was a great chance. And then Markey, after a mazy dribble, played a lovely ball across. Cross come shot that just went by the post. So Cork will be very, very relieved actually to get the point. And
Oh,
you
very
know,
like Drogheda had an awful lot of
sure.
shots to them when they put them under a lot of
And this has
pressure.
been
And
a lot. Well, this happened a lot this season. Kevin Doherty will feel like a broken record at times this season because he's come out after interviews or during interviews and said the same thing, and he's
Hmm.
right. Like there's had so many games this season where they've drawn or maybe even lost that they've had the
But should
better
have won.
chances in the
Yeah,
game, and
yeah.
that's frustrating because it means you're set up well and you're doing things right, but you're not taking your chances. And it's disappointing from them. I would say that they've left more points behind them this season than Cork City have, for example. But Cork will be,
Oh yeah.
they are 2 points behind Drogheda, but they'll know they could have easily lost that match, and that would have been a massive turnaround, particularly with Sligo winning, which we'll get on to later as well. But
No, we'll
Drogheda,
go to think
even
about.
though Drogheda will still be happy with the way they performed, but I've said that a few times this season, so they'll be a bit disappointed, as I say, they didn't get the 3 points in this game.
Yeah, there would be, like we said, Drogheda had most of the chances on Cork to put them under serious pressure. I actually hate seeing a team trying to play out from the back when they just can't or not able to. And they put high press on them with three players playing up against their back
Mm.
five straight away. Every angle's out for a pass. You're putting your team under serious pressure. I
As well as how
hate
if it's usually recognised by the opposition as well, and
they
Drogheda
push right up on them. Nah,
mastered it to perfection. But you know what I mean. But Cork have got good defenders like Gilchrist and Coleman, but they're not what you call ball playing defenders either. They
no.
don't really have anyone in the midfield. Balder's a decent player, but not the level of someone who's going to go and get the ball and really make things happen. So I don't know. That's Liam Buckley's style. I know that, and he'll need to make player signings in the next few weeks if he wants to keep going with that style. Otherwise, they'll concede more goals from that kind of play. To be honest with you.
Speaking of signings, Cork City have just announced the signing of goalkeeper Tiernan Brooks. He came on loan from Notts County. He's a 20-year-old goalkeeper. Let
Yeah.
us know in the comments below if you're a Cork fan or just fan in general, what you think of that loan. I, for one, think Jimmy Corcoran's a very capable goalkeeper. I would have been trying to look at a defensive option or a midfield option rather than a goalkeeper. And I'm not sure what Liam Buckley's thinking was around then, but from what I've seen and heard, I would expect more Cork City signings to come in over the next
Yeah.
week or two. I do think they're in the market for players.
100%.
So it'll be interesting to see who to bring in, but I just found it a bit strange how they brought in a goalkeeper when, in my opinion, there wasn't really a need to.
Mm.
Um, so moving on to the next game then, Shelburne won against Derry City won. I think it's a very good result for Shelburne. Sean Boyd opening the goal scoring in the 57th minute. And then Ben Doherty got a goal in the 71st minute for Derry. And O'Reilly seen himself get sent off in the 80th minute, putting Derry under a lot of pressure
Mm.
from Shelburne in the close a few minutes. Derry had a spell of possession with nearly 60% possession. Yeah, so look, a very good result, I think, for Shelburne Key, and I think they should be very happy with that.
On paper, yeah, it does. But the way the game went, they'd probably be actually a little disappointed and win the game, if I'm honest, in that
Mm-hmm.
second half, to be honest with you, because
On paper, yeah, yeah.
how many times can I say honest at once, by the way? But the game itself was very poor in the first half. There was nothing happening. There weren't many chances. Shelburne, if you like, surrendered possession in the first half to Derry. Derry generally moved the ball too slowly, really, if I'm honest with you. Apart from a spell of maybe 10 minutes where they upped the tempo a little bit and had a few half chances. I think McGonigal should have given them the lead, though. I think it was Doherty who swung in the cross, and McGonigal just misses the header. It's as simple as that. He doesn't actually get his head onto the ball, and if he connects, he scores. I think I'm not sure why he didn't because it wasn't really out of reach, but that was probably the best chance, if you like, in the first half. Moylan had a chance early on. He struck wide from 20 yards for Shelburne. But the big change was the sub at half time when Sean Boyd came on because he gave them a presence up front, Shelburne, and also
Yeah.
meant that Moylan could drop a little deeper, a little wider maybe, and play off him as opposed to be isolated in the first half because all he was getting was long balls. I was actually at this match, the match day vlog, in case anyone's wondering, so check that out. But he was feeding on scraps in that first half as well. But in the second half, that changed and it opened the game up as on a whole, to be honest. The second half was a much better game overall. Shane McElhenney just had a header from a free kick, which Shelburne switched off, saved by Kearns. just before Boyd scores. And it's a free kick again. Evan Caffrey plays a lovely ball in. Boyd, beautiful, brilliant diving header, actually. He gets great power in it as well. And unless Mar was literally standing on the post, he doesn't save it. It was a brilliant header and it puts them 1-0 up. And the moment of the match for me was when it was brilliant football between Moylan and Boyd. I think Boyd plays the ball to Moylan initially around the corner. Moylan actually has it, stands up the defender, plays it into Boyd, runs, comes across on the loop. Boyd just lays it off to him. Beautiful finish.
Great play.
Makes a brilliant save. It was brilliant football all round from Shelburne and from Mar. So all round was brilliant football. That was the moment of the match because that would have made it 2-0. And Ben Doherty gets an equaliser with a fantastic strike to make it 1-1 in 71 minutes. The sending off then from Adam O'Reilly, I thought at the time I wasn't too sure about it. Watched the replay. Probably harsh, to be honest. It's an awkward challenge, but I don't think it's a red card. I think it's a yellow card, maybe. It's an awkward challenge, definitely a free kick. He's awkward, that's all. But there's no malice or anything in it. I don't think there's enough for a red card there at all. So Derry be disappointed with that because it meant that, as you said, they were putting the pressure in the last 10 minutes and generally only one team looked like they were going to win it. Boyd had another chance as well where it was just a heavy touch and a better touch and he was 1-1. He probably scores, but Mark comes out and claims the ball. But the funny thing is, you mentioned at the start that Shelburne be happy with that, but Derry won't be happy in terms of, they need to be winning matches, basically. They need to win matches. They're now third in the league. They're now third in the league. They're the team expected to be challenging Shamrock Rovers. As I mentioned before, Rovers have won 13 games this season, out of 24. Derry need to be doing. I know they're missing players as well, and Duffy's a big loss, McElhenney. But they bought McElhenney really in the knowledge that you knew he was going to pick up injuries, basically. That kind of way. Yeah. It's good that for them that Duffy was doing a bit of a warm-up dash fitness kind of a test, him and Harkin actually and a few other players. So they might be back soon. And they need those players because they're lacking creation at the moment. People say they lack a striker. Maybe they do. They do, I think. But they're lacking creativity as well. They have a little bit of in Brandon Kavanagh, but he's kind of shoved to the wing a lot of the time. And he's probably not physical enough to play in the centre midfield. So you either have to play him at number 10. But if that's not the system of play you're playing with a number 10, he's not going to play there, is what I'm saying. Sometimes he does come in field and that, and you can see a bit of the quality he has. But they are lacking that. And whereas they could have easily lost the game, at the same time they'd be disappointed with a draw, as was Shelburne, the way the game went in the second half. And
I think how I look at it is you have to look at the team you're playing going out before the ball is kicked. You have to say, right, what would be a good result before we go out today? And if a draw is a good result and you get a draw, I think you have to be happy with that because you could go out and play the top team in the league and get trashed 7-0, right? And you could say, right, but you could also go out and win 1-0. So I really think you need to look at who you're playing and what's the best result for you and be happy with what you come away with then if it's what you aimed for. But I know what you're saying. When you're going out and you're on top of it and you're making the chances and all, you are in control of the game. And you should be winning.
Take the game on its merits, don't you? Really,
I get your point.
The way we often say it as we take a draw before the match, and then by the end of the match, you're disappointed because of the way the game went.
Yeah, I just think though, if you're looking at a team, if I was Shelburne and I was looking at Derry coming here, I'd be happy with a draw. We got a draw. But I get what you're saying. The frustrations of, we should have won it. It's worth noting, another very good attendance for Shelburne at 3,200 at the game. So that's very, very good to see because not too long ago, they weren't getting anywhere near that number. So it's very, very good for the league that there's a really big attendance this season and long may it continue.
Absolutely does, yeah.
I suppose we'll save the best for last, Keith. Sligo Rovers 3, Bohemians 1.
Right, I'll talk about this before you go on your rant, right? So I'll go into it before you go on your rant. I'll let you have your rant though. Yeah, so look, it was great from Sligo's point of view. Sligo have to get, from their point of view, this was a fantastic win, a badly needed win because with Drogheda and Cork playing each other, actually being a draw as well, it really suited them this weekend and getting the win there. It was the first win since they beat Derry at home. I think they've only had one win in 9 or 10 matches or something like that. And, the weather was horrendous at the showgrounds. But Barlow gets in the lead after 26 minutes. Mata makes it 2 on 42. And, Barlow does well in the wing again, lifts it up. And I know the weather was poor etc. But Talbot needs to catch that. He takes his eye off the ball. It's very simple. He does take his eye off the ball. He hits him on the palm of his hand. And Mata's very alert. I've watched the replay a few times. Do you know what I mean? If Mata doesn't make that run in, Talbot probably gets it again, no problem. But he almost expects him to make a mistake, and it's a bad mistake for me. 2-0, 3-0 then was a brilliant move in the second half from Sligo on the left hand side. Bolger Moran, I think Fitzgerald were involved, and Radoslavich. It looked like it took a little deflection maybe, but it was a good strike and he made it 3-0. The game was over. Afolabi scored almost a carbon copy of the goal he scored against Shamrock Rovers, didn't he? With a good finish on his left foot. But from Sligo's point of view, you can talk about Bohs in a second. From Sligo's point of view, this is a massive result. Welcome to results. They haven't been scoring goals. They scored 3 in this game. Absolutely huge for them. And they'll be looking to kick on a little bit now, I think, as well. But yeah, brilliant. And for them, Mata getting his 10th of the season now, his spell without scoring, that was crucial as well. But I'll let you talk about Bohs now and have your little rant.
I'm taking shots here, Key, but I'm not happy with that. No one who's the Bohs fan is happy with that. That result was disgraceful. Let the results aside for a second. You can still play good and lose a game. That's okay. That happens. But Bohs didn't turn up. They were shocking all over the pitch. They were horrendous everywhere, all over the pitch. They were shocking in the backs. Midfield, we were lackluster with possession. We weren't doing anything with the ball. We were passing it backwards and sideways, and we had 60% of possession. I'm not one to go on stats because I still think at 20% possession you can still win a game. So I don't really go by stats. But we had most of the ball. We did nothing with it. Talbot, what in the name of God was that, man? Probably his worst performance I've ever seen in a Bohs shirt. And like all them players need to hang their heads in shame after that. That was just horrendous. That was terrible. We're a team that we're hoping to be pushing for Europe this season. We go to our rivals Sligo, who are rivals in the league, is what I mean in terms of the table. And that's the performance we turn up after all them away travelling sport to Sligo, to the showgrounds, backing the team from the start. And that's how we play.
They are fifth Bohs, but they do have 2 games in hand. But to be fair, it's highly unlikely they're going to win the 2 games in hand, if we're honest.
Yeah, but going back to the Sligo game, they need to be beating Sligo. They should have looked at this game, we got a great draw against Shamrock Rovers. We got our jail on that one. We came back from 2-0 from behind. We need to push on from this now and make sure we get a result here at Sligo. Like, even a draw would have been, in my opinion, a bad result against Sligo. They need to be going and winning this game. Like, you can talk about the weather until the cows come home. At the end of the day, do your jobs, clear the ball, get rid of it. If you're a defender, get rid of it. I don't care where it goes. I don't care about playing out from the back. You just keep the ball out one end and put it into the net at the other end. That's all I want to see. I don't care after that. Talbot's display in goal was terrible. I'm one of Talbot's biggest fans. And I really hope he plays in goals tonight against Shelburne in the cup that nobody cares about, apparently. So we can get a bit of confidence back, because Denison, I can't pronounce his name wrong, is injured. Talbot is number 1. He is an established Irish Premier League goalkeeper. Like, this mistake is just terrible. He's a full-time professional athlete who's been called into recent Ireland squads. Like, it's just, there's no defending it. There's just no getting away from it. It was just shocking. The right back area, I think, has been really highlighted. Playing Horton there, it's just not working. And leaving Bucko on the bench, I don't agree with that. He must be not fit. But then I didn't see Connolly do anything in the whole game. He might as well have just not been there. Whenever he had the ball, he did nothing productive with it. He didn't go forward with it. He didn't dribble with it. He didn't use his pace. He didn't stretch the field of play. Basic stuff that he should be able to do, he just didn't do. Afolabi, man, you need to shoot more. You need to get on that ball and turn and shoot instead of taking 40, 50, 60 touches. What's he doing? Like, I know he got a goal and it's great to see, and hopefully he keeps this goal scoring vein going, because we really need to put ourselves together and get a result. And it's not getting any easier with Dundalk coming to town on Friday. Like, we really need to get a result against Sligo, and it's just shocking that we pulled that away. And someone correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't look it up, but I believe we've only won 10 games in 10 games, 2 games in 10 matches, which is just not okay for Bohemians Football Club. That's just terrible. Look, I could keep going on about this game all day long. What was Rakowski? Yeah, he probably one of his terrible games as well. He just wasn't confident in the ball. He wasn't pushing up with the field of play. He wasn't finding the easy pass when he could. It was just terrible all over. Flores, I didn't really see him do much in the whole game either. Clark, I thought, deserved to be in the team. He tried to play a ball a little bit, but just wasn't productive. It was just a terrible result for Bohs. We need to put it behind us and get a result tonight and get a result against Dundalk. Lastly, to finish up with, I by no means want Declan Devine gone. I've seen some ludicrous people posting that he should be gone now, that these results are not okay. They're not okay, but like, let's not forget at the start of the season, we had no defenders, we had no right back. We brought in two unknown players from Poland at the very, very start of the season, a week before we play our first league game. That's not okay either. What's Pat Fenlon doing? Get us a right back, get us a striker. There's money there. Go out and get a player. Like, there's only so much he can do with it. And I think he needs time. He needs another full transfer window. We need to see what he's like this time next season. I don't want Declan Devine gone. I think he's done a lot for the club since he's came in, and there'll be a lot more good results to come. I don't think it's panic stations just yet, and there's a lot of football still to be played. But look, I'm very disappointed about that result. I'm very hurt by it. It was upsetting to see. It was a terrible result all around. Not one player played well, in my opinion. It was just terrible, and I felt bad for the fan that travelled down. But fair play for everyone who went to the game and came back. But it's just terrible, and hopefully we get a result in the cup and get a result against Dundalk. By God, do we need it? Teams around us are climbing up and they're getting points, and we're not. And like I said, 10 games, we've only picked up 2 wins. I'm surprised we're still at where we're at. It shows the good start of the season we made stood to us.
Yeah, I suppose that segues as well into the predictions for Friday. We start off at Dalymount Park as Bohs and Dundalk.
Look, not to spend too much time analysing the match, it's going to be very tough. Dundalk will be full of confidence, clean sheets again, a 2-0 win against Rovers. I think a draw will be a very, very good result first. I'd like to see a win. I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be a 0-0 boring draw, and I will take that right now.
1-1 draw for me. I think they might get something out of it though. Derry City at home to Sligo.
Again, Derry are playing a team that's currently in form now again. Sligo have picked themselves back up after that terrible UCD loss. They'll be going into this with confidence, and I think Derry will be. I think Derry will be okay, but I can still see Derry winning this. I'm going to say 1-0 Derry win, but I think Sligo will give them a very good game.
I'll go with Derry 1-0 as well. Did you go 1-0? Yeah. Drogheda and Shamrock Rovers.
Look, I would love Drogheda to win this, but I don't really see any other team winning. Only Shamrock Rovers, unfortunately. I think a draw would be a very good result for Drogheda, but I just see Shamrock Rovers coming and scoring 2 goals and winning by 2-0. But I don't think they're going to give Shamrock Rovers an easy game. I think they're going to be hard to break down. They're rugged and they're tough to play against. I'd love to see a draw, but I think it's going to be 2-0 Shamrock Rovers.
I think Rovers might nick it 1-0. St. Patrick's Day at home to Cork City.
It's never easy playing Cork, but they're obviously down near the bottom of the league for a reason. But they've obviously got a draw this week, and they'll be hoping to build on from that. But Pats will be flying high with that 7-0 win, full of confidence. So many good things happening on the Pats right now. 4 off top of the league, like you said. They'll have to be fancying themselves for this. They'll have to be backing themselves for this. I think, in my opinion, a draw will be a very good result for Cork, but I do think Pats will win this comfortably enough. I think I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory for St. Pat's.
I'll go 3-1 Pats. UCD and Shelburne finally.
Going to go with 1-0 UCD win. I think UCD are due a result. I think they need to pick themselves up from this last few games. They've had a terrible season so far, one of the worst starts to a season I've ever seen UCD make. I do think teams will be looking at them and not respect them. They look at them like they're the whipping boys. They can't defend. They just concede brutally from the set pieces. So I think if they attack them with set pieces, they could fall down there.
Yeah.
But UCD have the potential to surprise us. And I do think that they're due a result. Obviously, Shelburne will bring a lot of fans to the UCD Bowl, but I'm going to go with 1-0 UCD win.
On for it again. I'll go 2-0 Shelburne. Right, lads, we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments. Give us a few predictions for Friday night. Any talking points that we've mentioned, any thoughts or opinions, let us know. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video and hit your bell notification button to keep up to date with videos. Thanks, lads.
Cheers, Key.